It's 5:05 p.m. You close your laptop, and you let out a long, slow sigh. You've done it. You have survived another workday. You've given your company your best hours, your best focus, and your best energy. Now, you have a few precious hours that belong to you. 5, maybe 6 hours before you need to go to sleep and do it all over again. As you're commuting home, you make plans. You have ambitions. You think to yourself, tonight's the night. Tonight, I'm finally going to work on that side project I've been dreaming about. Or, tonight, I'm definitely going to the gym. Or maybe, tonight, I'm just going to relax and finally read that book that's been sitting on my nightstand for 3 months. You feel a little spark of motivation. You feel like you have a plan. And then, life happens. You walk through your front door. You drop your keys in the bowl. You kick off your shoes, and you just stop. The sheer weight of the day suddenly hits you. The exhaustion from all those meetings, all those emails, all those small decisions, it all catches up. You think, okay, I'll just sit on the couch for 5 minutes to decompress. You sit down. You pick up your phone to just check a few things. You open up TikTok, or Instagram, or YouTube. The algorithm knows you're tired. It starts feeding you a perfect, endless stream of easy, entertaining content. You blink, and you realize 30 minutes have gone by. You think, okay, well, I'm already comfortable now. You reach for the remote control. You turn on Netflix, and it asks you that fateful question. Who's watching? You click on your profile, and you see a show you were in the middle of. The continue watching button is practically calling your name. You watch one episode, and then, because autoplay is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, the next episode begins. In the background, you're mindlessly snacking on whatever is easy to grab from the pantry. Before you know it, you look at the clock. It's 10:30 p.m. The entire evening has vanished. It has disappeared into a black hole of screen time, passive consumption, and low-energy activities. And as you drag yourself to bed, you feel that familiar, nagging pang of regret. You feel a little disappointed in yourself. And you think, where did all my time go? Why didn't I do any of the things I wanted to do? Tomorrow will be different. If this story sounds even remotely familiar to you, I want you to know that you are not alone. And more importantly, I want you to know that this is not a willpower problem. For years, I lived in that exact same cycle. And for years, I believed it was because I was lazy or unmotivated. I thought there was something fundamentally wrong with my character. But the truth is, you and I are not lazy. We are just running on a bad script. Our brains, especially after a long day of work, are designed by nature to follow the path of least resistance. The problem isn't our character, it's our default settings. In this video, I am not going to tell you to hustle harder or to just be more disciplined. That's terrible advice that leads to burnout. Instead, I am going to share with you the 5 practical, mindset-shifting strategies that I personally used to completely rewrite my own default settings. These are the 5 things I did to stop wasting my evenings and finally reclaim my time and my energy for the things that truly matter to me. We're going to cover 5 key ideas. First, we'll talk about how to literally rewrite your brain's default settings by changing your environment. Second, we'll learn how to optimize your life math to truly understand the incredible value of your time. Third, we'll explore the simple but powerful strategy of changing your first destination after work. Fourth, I'll show you how to use your best hours for yourself, not just your job. And finally, we will talk about the most important rule of all, how to respect your foundation. Let's begin. Our first strategy is the one that everything else is built upon. It is to rewrite your default settings. Your brain after a long workday is like a river flowing down a mountain. It will always follow the easiest, most established path. It will flow down the path of least resistance. Right now, for most of us, the easiest path, the deepest, most well-worn riverbed is the one that runs from our front door directly to our couch. The couch is where the remote control lives. It's where our phone becomes an extension of our hand. It's a place of comfort, passivity, and consumption. That is your current default setting. Now, trying to use pure willpower to stop that river from flowing down its natural path is exhausting. It's like trying to build a dam out of sand. By hand, every single day, you might be able to hold the river back for a little while. But eventually, your energy will run out, the dam will break, and the river will rush right back to where it wants to go. So, rewriting your default settings doesn't mean fighting the river with willpower. It means you become an engineer. It means you grab a shovel and you dig a new, easier, more appealing path for the river to flow down before it even reaches the old one. This is a concept known as environment design. You are changing your physical environment to make your good habits the easiest possible choice, and your bad habits just a little bit harder. Let me give you some practical, original examples of how I did this. The first rule I implemented was the path of least resistance rule. The goal is to make the good habit I want to do even easier than the bad habit I'm trying to avoid. For example, my goal was to start working out after work. So, before I would leave for work in the morning, when I still had energy and good intentions, I would take out my workout clothes, my shorts, my shirt, my socks, my shoes, and I would lay them out neatly on my bed. Now, think about what this does. When I come home from work, tired and drained, I am faced with a choice. To get into my comfy clothes, I would have to open my dresser, find a pair of sweatpants, find a t-shirt. It takes a few small steps. But to get into my workout clothes, all I have to do is put on what is already laid out in front of me. In that moment, it is physically easier to put on the workout clothes than it is to find the pajamas. By designing my environment in the morning, I made my desired habit the new path of least resistance for my tired evening self. The same works for reading. If you want to read more, leave a book on your pillow, not your phone. Make the good habit the most obvious and easy choice. The second part of this is the friction rule. Just as we make good habits easier, we need to make our bad habits just a little bit harder. We need to add a small amount of friction. I started a new habit that I called the phone jail. I got a small, simple wooden box, and I placed it on a table right by my front door. The rule was simple. The moment I walk in the door, my phone goes into the phone jail for the first hour that I am home. It's not locked away forever, but the simple act of having to physically get up from the couch and walk all the way across the room to get my phone adds just enough friction to break the cycle of mindless, instantaneous scrolling. That small barrier gives my logical brain a few seconds to kick in and ask, do I really need to be on my phone right now? And the third part of rewriting your defaults is the pre-decision rule. Your brain has a limited capacity for making good decisions each day. We want to make as many good decisions as possible in the morning, when our energy is high, so that we don't have to rely on our tired brain in the evening. The classic example of this is planning your meals. On Sunday, I started planning out what I would eat for dinner for the entire week. I would make a list, go grocery shopping, and even do some of the prep work. This completely eliminates the dreaded 6 p.m. question of, what's for dinner? That one question, when you are tired and hungry, is a moment of extreme decision fatigue. And it's the moment that so often leads to the easy, default decision of ordering an expensive, unhealthy pizza. By making the decision on Sunday, you are doing a massive favor for your future self. Our second strategy is to optimize your life math. This is a mindset shift that helps you understand the true value of your time, which in turn makes you much less likely to waste it. We often treat our free time in the evenings as if it's worthless. Throwaway time. It's just the leftover scraps from our real day at work. But let's do some very simple, very powerful life math to see just how valuable that time really is. Let's say Through these strategies, you are able to reclaim just one single hour every weeknight. That's 5 hours per week. Doesn't sound like much, right? But let's keep going. 5 hours a week, multiplied by 52 weeks in a year, is 260 hours. 260 hours. What is 260 hours? A standard full-time work week in the United States is 40 hours. So, 260 hours is the equivalent of more than 6.5 full-time work weeks. Imagine that. Imagine if your boss gave you an extra 6.5 weeks of paid time off every year to work on whatever you wanted. What could you accomplish? You could complete a professional certification course that could get you a promotion. You could learn to play the guitar. You could write a book. You could build a side business from scratch. You could get into the absolute best shape of your life. When you start to see your time in these terms, your perspective completely changes. You stop seeing your evening as a few hours of throwaway time. You start seeing it as a precious, valuable asset. You start to realize that an hour spent mindlessly scrolling TikTok isn't just an hour. It's an hour that you could have invested in building a better future for yourself. This doesn't mean you can never relax, but it makes you much more intentional about how you spend your most valuable, non-renewable resource. To put this into practice, I started using a simple mental framework that I call the +1 versus -1 scoreboard. For any activity I was considering doing in the evening, I would quickly ask myself, is this a +1 activity or a -1 activity? A +1 activity is anything that adds value to your life. It moves you, even just a tiny bit, closer to your long-term goals. Examples of +1 activities could be exercising, reading a non-fiction book, learning a skill on YouTube, working on a side project, calling a family member or a friend to connect, or meal prepping for the week ahead. A -1 activity is anything that is stagnant or actively subtracts value from your life. It does not move you forward. It just kills time. Examples of -1 activities could be mindlessly scrolling through social media and comparing yourself to others, watching a TV show that you don't even really like just because it's on, getting into a pointless argument online, or complaining about your day. Now, the goal here is not to be a perfect human being and eliminate all -1 activities. That's impossible and it's not fun. We all need time to zone out and relax. The goal is simply to build awareness. It's about consciously trying to have more +1 moments than -1 moments in your evening. It turns the abstract concept of time management into a simple, daily game that you can try to win. At the end of the evening, you can look back and think, was tonight a +1 night? This simple act of measurement makes you far more likely to make better choices tomorrow. Our third strategy is a very simple, very physical one. It is to change your first destination. There is a critical, pivotal moment that often determines the fate of your entire evening. That moment is the first 60 seconds after you walk through your front door after work. The decision you make in that single minute can set the trajectory for the next 5 hours. As we talked about, for most people, the default first destination is the couch. The couch is a trap. It is a powerful trigger location. It is physically comfortable, and it is psychologically associated with passive entertainment and rest. Once you sit down, once your body sinks into those cushions, the law of inertia takes over. An object at rest stays at rest. It becomes 10 times harder to get up and do something productive once you have succumbed to the gravitational pull of the couch. So, the strategy is simple. You must consciously change your first destination. There are 2 powerful ways to do this. The first is what I call the external detour. This is by far the most effective method. If your life allows for it, the idea is simple. Don't go home first. On your commute home from work, you make a detour. You make your first destination the gym. Or you go to a local park for a 20-minute walk in the fresh air. You could even go to the library or a coffee shop with a book for just 1 hour to decompress. By breaking your routine and completing a positive, productive task before you even walk through your front door, you completely change your mental state. You are no longer in tired, post-work mode. You are in active, engaged mode. You build a wave of positive momentum that can easily carry you through the rest of the evening. The second way is the internal detour. If you have to go straight home after work, maybe you have kids or other responsibilities, then you need to create a new, non-negotiable path inside your own house. You must consciously bypass the trap. My personal rule for this was, I am not allowed to sit down on the couch until I have changed into my workout clothes. This meant my first destination upon entering my home was not the living room. It was my bedroom. For you, your first destination might be going straight to the kitchen to start preparing your pre-planned dinner. Or it might be going to your home office to work on your side project for just 15 minutes. The key is to have a pre-decided destination and a pre-decided first action that is not sit on the couch. Win the first 5 minutes after you get home, and you will win the entire evening. This leads us to our fourth strategy, which is about managing your most precious resource. It is to use your best hours for you. Most of us have a system that is fundamentally broken. We give our best, most focused, high-energy hours, typically from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to our employer. We give them our freshest brain power and our most creative problem-solving skills. Then, we come home with the leftover scraps, the dregs of our mental and physical energy, and we try to build our own dreams, our own goals, and our own futures with it. Is it any wonder that it feels so difficult? We need to apply the powerful financial principle of pay yourself first to our energy. You wouldn't give all your money away to other people and then try to live off the leftovers. So why do we do that with our most valuable resource? Our focused energy. There are two main strategies to start paying yourself first with your energy. The first is what I call the evening golden hour strategy. This is designed for people who still have a decent amount of energy in the evenings. The night owls. The rule is this. The very first hour after you get home and settle in your golden hour is protected. It is sacred. Before you turn on the television, before you get lost in the endless scroll of your phone, you dedicate that first, best of the rest hour to your most important personal task. That could be writing your book, learning to code, planning your business, or practicing an instrument. You give the best of your remaining energy to yourself. First, you can relax and watch Netflix later, but your golden hour is non-negotiable. The second strategy is more radical, and it's designed for the morning people. It's the miracle morning strategy. If you are the kind of person who is just completely and totally drained by the end of the workday, then stop trying to fight it. Stop trying to force yourself to be productive when your battery is at zero. Instead, shift your me time to the time of day when your energy is at its peak. The morning. This means making the commitment to wake up just 1 hour earlier than you absolutely need to. I know that sounds painful, but think about that hour. In that quiet, pre-dawn hour, your brain is fresh. Your willpower is at 100%. The world has not thrown its problems, its emails, and its notifications at you yet. You can accomplish more in that one focused morning hour than you can in 3 tired, distracted evening hours. It's a radical shift, but it's about honestly assessing when your best hours are and making sure you give at least one of them to yourself. This brings us to our fifth and final strategy. This is the one that holds everything else together. It is the most important rule of all, and it is to respect your foundation. This is the anti-hustle culture message. In our society, we are often told that the only way to get ahead is to work harder, to sleep less, to grind, to push ourselves to the absolute limit. This is a toxic and destructive myth. You cannot have productive, fulfilling, and energetic evenings if you are constantly running on empty. Your body and your mind are the foundation upon which your entire life is built. If that foundation is cracked and crumbling, you cannot build anything stable or lasting on top of it. You cannot hustle your way out of burnout. In fact, hustling when you are already exhausted is the fastest way to get there. So, Respecting your foundation means treating your physical and mental health not as a luxury, but as a non-negotiable prerequisite for success. It means understanding that recovery is not lazy. Recovery is productive. What does this look like in practice? It means prioritizing sleep. Getting 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is not a sign of weakness. It is the single most powerful productivity tool in the world. It improves your focus, your mood, your decision-making, and your energy levels. It means prioritizing nutrition. Fueling your body with real, whole foods instead of processed junk is what gives you the actual physical energy you need to function after 5 p.m. And it means prioritizing decompression and true rest. You need to schedule time for your brain to do absolutely nothing. Sometimes, the most productive and strategic thing you can possibly do at 7 p.m. is not to work on your side hustle. It's to take a hot bath, listen to some calm music, and go to bed early. You are not wasting time when you do this. You are a high-performance machine, and you are pulling into the pit stop for fuel and new tires. You are recharging your battery so that you can be effective and energetic tomorrow. Without respecting this foundation, all the other strategies we talked about are simply unsustainable. So, let's bring this all home. Let's recap the 5 simple but powerful strategies we've discussed. First, we rewrite our environment's default settings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. Second, we optimize our life math to understand the true value of our time. Third, we consciously change our first destination after work to avoid the couch trap. Fourth, we use our best hours for ourselves by paying ourselves first with our energy. And finally, and most importantly, we respect our foundation of health, sleep, and rest. I want you to think of your evenings, that precious time from 5 p.m. onwards, as a blank canvas. Every single day, you are given a new, fresh canvas. You have a choice. You can let that canvas be filled by the easy, passive defaults of modern life. You can let the algorithms of Netflix and TikTok and Instagram paint the picture for you. Or, you can be the artist. You can be the one who picks up the brush. You can be the one who decides what the picture will look like. You can intentionally design a life you are truly proud of, one evening at a time. You don't have to implement all 5 of these strategies at once. That would be overwhelming. I want you to just choose one. Just one to start with this week. What is the one thing you would love to make more time for in your evenings? Is it a hobby you've been neglecting? Is it exercise? Is it reading? Is it spending quality time with your family? Share your goal in the comments below. Let's declare our intentions together. The simple act of writing it down is the first step in making it real. If this video gave you a practical place to start, please give it a like and subscribe for more ways to live a more intentional and fulfilling life. Thank you for watching.